Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Knife Chats with Tobias.
All right. I got to tell you, if you'd have told me 2 weeks ago that I would be picking up not one, but two Bear Son Tiny Toothpicks within the next week or so, I would have probably laughed. First of all, tiny toothpicks are not something that I generally go around looking for. And I'm not exactly sure how I found the first of these. It was this one here. And that led me to getting this one here as well. And both of these are from Red Hill Cutlery. But I found them both online at basically the Red Hill Cutlery eBay site. And I got them for a lot less than what the list price is there. So they, if you see them there, put them in your watch list first. They're going to send you a note within a day or so saying, hey, would you be interested in paying this much for them? And you can either go for that price or you can enter an even lower price and see what they respond with. That's just a hint. In any case, you're not going to have to pay $60 for these unless you are just really greedy and are worried that it's the last one and you got to have it. Now, with that said, let's talk about these Bear Son toothpicks. Now, as you know, I collect a lot of large toothpicks, and I have several large Bear Son toothpicks. These are the only tiny toothpicks I have by Bear Son, and this is the second and third USA-made tiny toothpick that I have bought. The other tiny toothpick I have is by Case. This is the one I have from Case. This was in their Carhartt series. And I bought it because I really like the barn board jigged bone here and also the shield and everything else about it. Tiny toothpicks are not big on my radar. Somehow I stumbled on this one. We'll keep this one here for a second. Again, this is the first USA made I bought, second and third USA made tiny toothpicks I bought. And by tiny toothpick, I mean a 3-inch closed toothpick with a blade that is somewhere in the 2 1/4 inch range. So 5 1/4 inches when it's open. And this is the first one I saw, and it was in the Gator green bone. And you can kind of guess why I liked it. I mean, would you look at the bone on that? It is just beautiful. Beautifully jigged and everything else. It was just a fantastic looking bone. And I saw it and it's like, man, I really like that. And I put it in my watch list and then started looking around on the web, looking to see where is this actually from? Because, and then I looked at the box right there and it said Red Hill Cutlery exclusive. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to go to Red Hill Cutlery and see how much they're charging for it. And it was also going for $59.99 on Red Hill Cutlery. And it's like, oh, $60 for a tiny toothpick from Bear Son? And Bear Son is one of those companies that, in my opinion, have some quality control issues. So I was very weary of paying that kind of money with it. But in the time it took for me to actually find it on Red Hill Cutlery's website, the one that I had on eBay that I was looking at on eBay had this offer pop up, and the offer was phenomenal. It's like, wow, that's like almost half off. And I was like, that's pretty cool. And then so I did a little finagling, and well, now I have the knife, and I am really impressed with it. I really like the box too. It kind of reminds me of the boxes you get from Queen Cutlery. And if you see here, serial number 16, and then this is all the information on it. And that would be the product number, I guess. Bear Son Gator Skin Toothpick, Red Hill Cutlery. And I have not seen anything like a Gator Skin Toothpick from anyone, especially USA made. The closest thing I have to it is the crocodile bone. This is the crocodile bone from Frost Cutlery, and I really liked it too. You can see that. That's the crocodile bone. But I saw this, and even when I was looking at it, it's like pretty cool. It was like, all right, I'm willing to take a chance. It's been 10 years since I've bought a folding knife from Bear Son. Let's see how it works. And I'm pretty happy with it. Actually, it's probably been about 5 years since I bought one from Bear Son. Does have a blade edge on there, which, you know, a lot of people are not going to like that. And you can definitely feel it on there. I don't know if it's a stamping or if you could just rub that off. Does look good though, if you're in the blade edges. If you're not in the blade edges, I do believe you'd be able to polish that right off. And you see there, Bear Son MGC, USA, and then it's got all these the markings on the either side. Kind of work the same way the case works. So as you remove different stars, you end up lowering or changing the year on this. So this might be a 2020 knife. I don't know for certain. The problem I have with it is what you're seeing right there. The blade pivot is very tight, so the action is not as smooth as it should be. I would say the pull on the knife is probably about a 6 or a 7, which is pretty strong for a tiny toothpick. What you do see on here, right there, that is the serial number. It's number 16, like you saw on the box there. See that, 16 and 16. A really nice bone. Really nice bone. The other thing about it though is if you can look here, if you can compare that quickly, you might not notice it right away. This is flatter across the bottom, much flatter, much straighter. This has a more serpentine shape to it. This one has a little bit of a bump right there, whereas with the case it just kind of smooths into it, which is the same way that you have with all of the other ones. This is one by Frost or Steel Warrior. Here's my Rough Rider in Stag. Notice how they all are a little bit different. This one has the little bump there. It also has a much more substantial blade than what you have in any of these other 3 toothpicks. All of them have the same shape of blade. If you see there, I mean, the Frost, the Rough Rider, and the case all have the exact same shaped blade going on. But the Bear Son has a blade with a much wider belly. The clip is more of a long clip instead of the common muskrat, or if you want to call it California or Turkish clip that you have in the other toothpicks. This one is more of a long clip, so the clip only comes to about the center point on the blade. And this allows for a lot more belly on the blade and everything. And it just feels, you can get a better grip on it. It's a more substantial handle all around. I gotta tell you, it really is. So if you're someone who likes the tiny toothpick but think it's just a little too tiny, and you're looking for something with a little more belly on it, then the Bear Son might be what you're looking for, because it definitely has a little more belly on it. Doesn't have that quite the same serpentine shape, but it still does have the powder horn going. And it has a more substantial blade, which is a good thing to have. Much less likely to break this blade probably. Now, if you notice, stainless steel liners, stainless steel back spring, nickel silver bolsters. I believe it is a 440A stainless steel blade. Really tight blade. There's no wobble in it or anything. It's a good lockup. And the only problem though is the pivot is pretty tight, so you really have to push it all the way around for it to close. You're not really going to have to worry about this thing closing up real fast on you or anything like that. You can see that. Watch the close. You really have to push it all the way down, as opposed to what you have on the case, which has much better action in the pivot. So that's a real alligator snap. And this one has a gator snap to it, you know. See that drops. This one, not so much. So if you're looking for a really good walk and talk in this knife, you're not going to find it. I got to tell you that. But otherwise, it's not a bad knife. The pivots on a lot of Bear Son knives have this same issue, that it's just the blade grinds and everything else. I do know that over time, as you use it more, you get a better snap out of them. But when you first get them, you're going to have a very lazy snap. Just going to tell you. Let's move on to the other one. Probably won't talk nearly as much about that one, but it is also pretty cool. But this one also is the main reason why I'm always weary when I go to buy a Bear Son knife without having it first. And if you can see there, can you see that pen? That pen is definitely proud on both sides. It's not well rounded either. Feels like it needs to be pushed in more. It does have a nice Kentucky shield. That was really the main draw for it for me. I spent less on this one than I did on this one also. This one also an exclusive. This one is number 10. There we go, number 10. Number 10. And as you can see, this is in the Devil's Cut Black Bone. This is referring to bourbon barrels. When they make bourbon, the Angel's Cut is the portion of the bourbon that evaporates into the air. The Devil's Cut is the portion that is absorbed into the wood of the barrel. So that's and it's what darkens the barrel. So that's why it's referred to as the Devil's Cut bone. And if you notice here, it is somewhat like a saw cut bone here. The saw cut, I don't know. I like it. It's not what you expect. It's not what you see on so many other knives. What I can tell you is it does look like it was done by hand, because those striations have no rhyme or reason going on with them. You see that? It actually does look like those cuts were done by hand, which is pretty cool. And you can see them on this side too. They do not match. They are going in, well, this one's going that way. Yeah, they're both going in about the same direction. You'd be able to see this a lot better if it did not have the shield. But at the same time, I was kind of happy to see the Kentucky shield. That might have something to do with that shirt you see me wear a lot, which says Harlan, Kentucky on it. As for the blade etch, this knife has a much stronger pull than this one. I have cleaned that one out a little bit. See there, Devil's Cut Black Bone, which looks pretty cool. This one was made after this one, so I'm a little or was it? No, they're both made in the same year. They each have 10 stars, so same year of production as far as I can tell. The only real problem, but also listen to this one. Once you get to about here, it finally goes. It does have a decent enough snap going on, but it is tight getting it to there. I got a feeling as I work this a little bit that drop will work out a lot better too. I can already feel it loosening up. So it is one of those things that you're just going to have to work on. The fit in this, or the finish on this one, is not quite as good. If you can see there, let's compare them next to each other. See the difference there? This one, you can definitely see a gap there. This one, overall, the fit on this one is just not as good as the fit and finish on the Gator bone. And that is why so many people complain about Bear Son knives. But I gotta tell you, either one of these would be a great pocket carry. Either one of them would be a great user. Yeah, the pen is really poorly done on this one, I think. I definitely would not pay $60 for this knife, and I definitely did not pay $60 for this knife. Feels decent enough in the hand. You can definitely feel the pen, but it's not a major issue. And again, you got a more substantial blade. When you're holding it in your hand to use, the pen is really doesn't play into any of your cutting or anything. So, and it's tight blade, no wobble or anything. All in all, not a bad knife. But again, go to the eBay site, buy it from there, and wait for them to make an offer, and then decide if you want that or if you want to pay even less, put in a different offer and see if they accept it or not. All in all, I'm happy I got both of them. I would much rather buy them in person, and who knows, I might end up stopping by Ratcliffe, Kentucky, and dropping by their world's largest knife store or the largest knife store in Kentucky, and checking out their products there. Among other things, at Red Hill Cutlery is the Kentucky Pocket Knife Museum. So something else just to have to check out. In any case, stick around. I'll show you some slides. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Let me take just a second to thank you once again for dropping by and spending a few minutes here at Knife Chats with Tobias. I really do appreciate it, and I do appreciate any comments that you leave. So please remember to give me that thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up and running. Thanks again for dropping by. Really do appreciate your time here.